Hi YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. November 17th, we have plenty of games to jump into for tonight, which we're gonna do. Last night we went 2-3, we were 2-0 against the spread, but then player props bit us in the ass. So we went 0-3 in player props last night, which is tough because I'm not gonna lie, none of the three were even that close. You guys know I keep it fully transparent with you guys. So against the spread, we were all over it. We had the feel last night, and there's some pretty tough games to pick. Player prop wise, yikes. So we deserve a womp womp. We will be better. But let's dive into tonight's games. November 17th, we got 11 of them to jump into here. And we have the Pistons hosting the Pacers to start it off. Pacers traveling to Detroit as the favorites here. 6.5-point favorites. The total's 211. And I do like the Pacers here. I will say I think that this Detroit team, pretty safe to bet against them this year. They're 5-8 against the spread, whereas the Pacers have kind of turned a corner. They're 8-7 against the spread. I could see this being a double-digit win for the Pacers. I don't want to lead you guys down a path of me acting like I'm all over the Pacers here. It's not like this isn't a play that I truly love. But I think that's 6.5 points. I think that's a relatively healthy Pacers team. That's a number that they can definitely cover. The only notable injury here is Duarte is questionable to play tonight. So keep an eye on the pinned comment, guys. I say it every video. Make sure you keep an eye on the pinned comment. That's where the updated picks and everything that I'm adding to my final plays for the night will be. So I am strongly leaning Indiana here. Whether or not it makes the final ticket, keep an eye on that pinned comment. We'll update it throughout the day, and it'll be final before game time. So keep an eye there. Same thing with player props as well. We won't get into player props in today's video, but I'll add some player props to the pinned comment there. And it bit us in the ass yesterday, but hopefully we're doing the biting, I guess, today, because we're owed it. That was a bad player prop night last night. So make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment there. Moving on to the Hornets hosting the Wizards. Hornets 2.5-point favorites here. The total is 214.5, and this Wizards team, top of the East, playing really good basketball. And, I like the Hornets. I think they're good against the spread team. They're 8-7 against the spread this year. But I don't know if I like laying points to the Wizards, and that sounds so crazy. But technically speaking, this Wizards team is way better than this Hornets team. So you won't find me touching the Hornets in this one. And honestly, I don't think that I could bet against them in this spot either. I do like this spot for the Hornets. So this is probably going to be one that I stay away from. That total's 214.5. I wouldn't mind looking at the over, but you guys know over-unders have been kind of crazy this year with the rule change. Either they're blowing away overs or it's like a severe under. So to me, it's probably going to be a peak at the over in this game. But I'm most likely staying away from this game. And again, that's because I like the spot for the Hornets, so I would lean their way. But the Wizards, to me, are just too hot right now to pull the trigger against. So that's my rationale behind that. Moving on to the Hawks hosting the Celtics. This is a huge game for my Boston Celtics. If you're a Celtics fan, you know that as well. The Hawks are 4-point favorites here. The total's 214. And I can't tell you guys to take the Celtics here, but I also don't know if I would take the Hawks. So this might be another stay away game for me. Robert Williams, questionable for this one for the Celtics. Jaylen Brown is still out for this one. And then there's a couple different injuries. They have you have Hunter out for the Hawks, Herter questionable, and Bogdanovich questionable for the Hawks as well. So to get a gauge on who's playing for this game is a little bit difficult to begin with. But then you look at the Hawks and you say, wow, that team is 5-10 against the spread this year. Yeah, 5-10 against the spread. But in terms of what we're actually looking at, they're 0-9 against the spread when they're the away team, but 5-1 when they're the home team. So that's a team that is two different teams when they're home and away. And, they're home tonight, so you'd think they'd be a good against a spread team. But I don't know if I can pull the trigger against the Celtics, who seemingly have started to play different basketball, 3 out of their last 4, everything like that. So could be biased that I'm not betting against the Celtics here because the Hawks are a great home team, but I'm going to be sticking away from this game. It is what it is. Next up, we have the Brooklyn Nets on a back-to-back taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. The spread is 10.5 here, and this Cleveland team is one of the sneakiest. I don't even know if we should say sneaky anymore. Sneakiest against the spread teams in the league. They're 11-4 against the spread. They might as well call them the cover Cavaliers because they're all over it. The Nets coming off of a loss last night to Golden State. But I feel like it'd be a good spot for the Nets to bounce back here. I just don't know if I trust against Cleveland. Like, it's crazy to say. So I would lean Nets to kind of come in here and say, oh, yeah, the Cavs are riding high. We just lost last night. Let's see what you got and kind of go in and absolutely whomp them. So I would say I'd lean Nets for a double-digit win here. But 10.5 points, you guys know my deal there. I really do, have a tough time pulling myself to laying double-digit points with any team. It could be the Nets versus the Rockets, and I have a tough time doing that. So keep an eye on the pinned comment there. That is where going to be, you'll see my final plays and whatnot, but this one might make the ticket just because I like the bounce-back spot at home for Brooklyn, but I don't know. That number is going to be tough to pull the trigger on, just being completely honest. The total there is 206.5. I like the over there as well. I would lean there. All right, Bucks hosting the Lakers. Bucks 7.5-point favorites over this Lakers team. You have LeBron James, looks like he's still going to be out. Brook Lopez questionable. George Hill is probable. Chris Middleton still out, and so is DiVincenzo. And it looks like Anthony Davis questionable, actually upgraded to probable versus Milwaukee. So that's good news for the Lakers. You won't find me laying 7.5 points here. The Bucks have not been a good, honestly, not a good team this year, but also not a good against the spread team this year. And the Lakers, you could say the same exact thing, but all of a sudden the Lakers look like they're like a championship caliber team at times, and then they look like they're a terrible team at times. So it's tough to peg this Lakers team, and that 7.5 points is right sort of in the wheelhouse of, okay, that's low enough that, I could see people wanting to pull the trigger on that, but high enough that the Lakers have a good night and can cover it. So I think Vegas is all over this number, which means I'm probably going to watch the line, and before I even make a true decision on it, I want to see which way that line's moving and everything like that, because that 7.5 is right kind of on the fence for me. So this could definitely be a stay away game. The total's 213.5. I don't hate the under here, but I probably won't be playing it. Both these teams have had some pretty high scoring games as of late in the last week, I should say. So, the way the NBA is working now, you'd think they're due for an under, but I don't know if I'm going to be touching that total. But my lean right now, I guess, if I had to give a lean, I lean towards who I think the better team is truly, and it's the Bucks at home here. But that's a big number to lay if the Lakers show up. So keep an eye on the pin comp for any updates on that game. All right, Miami Heat hosting the New Orleans Pelicans. 8.5-point favorites at home are the Heat. Total's 220 here. This Pelicans team, it's like even when they look like they are going to win a game like they did against Washington, they lose the game. This team is so bad. They did throw in a win there recently, so I think in their last 10, they're 1-9. This Miami Heat team, on the other hand, they started hot. They kind of went through a stretch of looking like, oh, boy, I don't know if we're that good. I do think that, they're starting to bounce it back. They did beat Utah, then they beat OKC, and they were losing to OKC at one point as well. In terms of injuries, no Morris for them. Jimmy Butler's questionable, and Bam Adebayo, who I believe missed last game, is questionable. And Dedmon, their backup big there too, questionable. So I want to see how this plays out first, but 8.5 points, I could see this being an easy double-digit win for Miami, and especially at home. So I'm going to be leaning Miami here. Keep an eye on the pinned comment because I do want to see, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, even Dedmon, I think could be a important injury if Bam Adebayo is still out. So keep an eye on that pinned comment. A lot of injuries we're waiting on, but I like the 8.5 number for Miami. It's a big number, but I think the Pelicans I don't even think. I know the Pelicans just aren't very good. Next up, we have the Knicks hosting the Magic. Knicks 11.5-point favorites over this Magic team. This Magic team is 4-10 against the spread, right? I feel like every time we've taken the Magic, they've hit. I feel like we've been on the right side of those 4 against the spread wins for this team. So for whatever reason, I look down and I'm like, they can cover 11.5. I don't know if they can. I feel like the Knicks are really looking to kind of solidify that they're back and they're ready to be one of those top teams in the East. They did beat Indiana in a grinded out game just a couple nights ago, but before that they had lost 3 out of their 4 previous games. So right now they're 2 out of their last 5 games they've won. I could see them bouncing back strong here, I guess kind of turning the corner, I should say. But that 11.5 points is preventing me from playing it for sure. Like I really will not be pulling the trigger on a 12-point victory here from the Knicks. I think that they win this game. I don't think they're overlooking the Magic. I don't think the Magic come in here and surprise anyone. But 12 points is a lot to ask for, and I'm sticking away from that. In terms of a total, we have 208. I don't hate the under here. It's so weird to say. These are numbers last year that I would have been all over the over. You know what I mean? No pun intended, but be like, oh yeah, pull the trigger on the over. Pull the trigger on the over. It's so low. Today's NBA, which is funny to say, today's NBA, that's a number that I wouldn't mind seeing an under hit. That's a number that I wouldn't mind seeing the under. So I guess keep an eye on the under there as well. It's 208.5 now. I bet you can get it at 209 in some places, but my lean for this one is probably the under. I don't like taking the Knicks here, and I'm surely not taking the Magic against the Knicks. Next, we have a great game. The Thunder taking on the Rockets. Thunder 3.5-point favorites. And I mean, that's just funny to me. Like, the Thunder are so bad, but the Rockets are so bad. This is one of those games, and you guys always jump in the comments. This is one of those games where I say, you are a psycho if you have a side on this game. And then we get people in the comments, which I love, being like, you know what? I have a side in this game. I have a clear-cut winner. So you psychos out there, I want to know what you think of this game, because I have absolutely zero thoughts on this game. Like, I have no vibe on this game. I think obviously OKC is better than Houston, but not by much. OKC, we've actually cashed a few tickets this year for, so shout out to them. But to me, this is just a game of two pretty damn bad teams, and I think it's a real gamble whoever's gonna cover that 3.5 points. So let me know in the comments down below. Sorry to let you guys down, but I don't have a pick on this game at all, not even a lean. TWolves hosting the Kings here. Minnesota 2-point favorites. The Kings travel in Minnesota, and they've covered, 7. They're 7-7 against the spread. Minnesota's 4-9 against the spread. Minnesota against the spread at home is a very bad against the spread home team. They're 2-6 against the spread at home, whereas Sacramento's actually a very good against the spread away team, 5-3. No notable injuries on Sacramento here. I definitely lean Minnesota. You can't say, oh, they're going to break out of that losing streak pretty soon. They won a couple games ago. So I like Sacramento here. They just came out of a big-time losing streak, and then they beat down on Detroit. So I like the Kings here. That's one of my, they're underdogs too. That's what I love. I probably would take Sacramento if they were -3 in this spot. I would. But, they're getting points here, so I'm probably going to be all over that. Make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment, but I'm pretty sure that's one's going to be on there. Sacramento +2. In terms of a total, 223.5. I guess I lean under. I could see this being a 110 to 105 type game, so I would lean under. We have a good game here. Trailblazers taking on the Bulls. Trailblazers actually favorites here at home, even though the Bulls are one of the better teams in the league, and they're 10-4 against the spread. It's a 2.5-point favorite here for Portland, and I don't know if this is because of, Vucevic being out, but I do like Chicago in this spot. I think Chicago's still a very good team without Vucevic. They're obviously better with him, but I like Chicago here. I will want to wait and see if Damian Lillard is a go. It looks like he's questionable right now. But I would lean Chicago in this spot. And that's, you guys know, I like the Blazers. We've taken them. We've taken CJ McCollum's threes, and it's thrown up in our face a couple times. But I like the Bulls in this spot, especially getting points. I don't care that they're on the road. All right, last game of the night, we have the Phoenix Suns hosting the Dallas Mavericks. This is a tough one to pick because the Suns are on a great streak here. They have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games in a row. So you got to think it's going to end at some point, right? But in that same time, the Nuggets or the Mavericks have only lost 2 games. So these are 2 teams that are pretty damn hot right now. But the Suns are 6.5-point favorites here, and I think that might be too much to get me to pull the trigger against the Mavs here. So I would lean Suns just because I want to ride the hot hand, and I get it. Everyone out there would be like, oh, no, this win streak's got to end, and they're almost betting against the Suns at this point because the win streak's got to end. But I would bet against them in a spot where maybe that number's a little bit bigger, where it's more of a letdown game. If they just have to cover 7 points here against the Mavericks, I don't hate that. So I would lean Phoenix here, but it's going to be tough for me to you're going to have to twist my arm to get this one on the ticket, just because I will admit this win streak has to end at some point. And the Mavs are, a decent team. They've had some good games lately. So I'm probably going to lean Suns here, but I don't think that I'm going to be pulling the trigger there. So that's what I have for you guys. Again, these are sort of my just instant reactions after my research and sort of my gut feelings on these games. Make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment. That's where I sort of, I guess, lock in what we're riding with tonight and everything like that. So make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment for that, and also player props that we add in there. A couple losing nights in a row. And when I say, losing nights, last night we were 2-3. It wasn't like the end all be all. We weren't toast. We weren't nailed into the coffin, but we do have to bounce back from it because that player prop night was terrible. So let's do that tonight. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out. Let's make some money, by the way. Let's make some money, but peace out.